and welcome to the Merryweather Knitting Podcast. My name is Gabriella and I'm coming to you on this glorious mid-October day from my home in Germany, where I'm so excited to chat with you about knitting and making and kind of all of my knitting and fiber arts related projects of the last couple of weeks. I hope that you'll join me and get cozy, maybe grab a project, some knitting of your own. I'd love to hear about the projects you're working on right now, what's inspiring you in your handmaking life, and maybe get yourself something delicious to drink. I've got this beautiful mug with some matcha tea, a matcha latte. Probably, honestly, the best matcha latte I've ever made is in this mug right now, so I'm very pleased and excited to sip it as I chat with you. I have two finished objects. One is a knitted object, another one is a knitting related object, so stay tuned for that. I can't wait to share that with you. But yeah, I would love to hear what you've been up to the last couple of weeks, how you're enjoying October. I am now really in the groove of autumn, just soaking up the beautiful changing colors. We have beautiful trees outside of our windows that I just love to watch as they change every day. It's like they're just changing before my eyes, and I love this fade from green to gold to red to brown and then to pear tree. I feel like it's like such a beautiful thing to watch, and so I've just been savoring this autumn so far, and every day that I get to go out and look and take a walk in nature, it's just such a glorious time of year. The weather's been so comfortable to just be able to walk. It hasn't been too rainy, so I've really made the most of that, enjoying this October. I'm going to start with my first finished object and just show that to you. It's a project that was just such a fun project, and that is this little sweater I knit up for my daughter, Esmeralda. It ended up being a sweater dress. I'm sorry if you hear, I always feel like I hear other people talk about if they're making a video, oh, there's noise in the background, and it never ever bothers me. But today a neighbor of mine seems to be doing some kind of housework project, like drilling holes and stuff, so you might hear that. I'm so sorry if you do. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't bother you. But this is the sweater dress I made. I'm so excited about it. I made this with leftover Jameson and Smith yarn from a bigger project I had. And I mean, it wasn't really leftover because I actually bought this huge amount of yarn on sale a couple of years ago and just had it in kind of my stash. And I've been trying to use up my stash. And so I used this as a contrasting color to my thistle rug sweater, which I shared in my last episode. And I decided to use this loop-in colorway, this lighter purple, to make a little sweater for Esmeralda. And as I knit it, I just loved knitting. It was so much fun. I saw that I would have enough yarn to knit a little bit more than just a little sweater. And so I decided to keep going and make it a little sweater dress, a little yoked sweater dress. And I'm so happy I did. It's so cute and so cozy. And actually, I've really had my eye on different kind of yoked sweater dress patterns for little girls for a long time. I think they're so cute and so kind of like kind of dressy in a way. They're kind of like fancy, but kind of like very girly and sweet, which Esmeralda, my daughter, who this will belong to first, loves like little dresses and things like that. But it's also really warm, so it's kind of this crossover between like a cute little dress and a really practical warm garment. And of course, because this is knit out of nice chunky wool, this is Jameson and Smith chunky yarn, it's going to be really warm, so warm, and I think she's going to get a lot of wear out of it as the season progresses. First just as an outerwear piece, I think, but then also when it gets really nice and cold, also indoors and just wearing at home. Sometimes these kind of bulky woolly sweaters are really too warm for me to wear indoors, and I tend to run warmer. I'm like I don't get cold very easily most of the time, and my daughters are kind of the same as me in that. My husband Nick is totally different. He's like likes to be very warm indoors, outdoors, everywhere, but our girls, they don't get super cold super easily. So it probably will be more of an outdoor piece because just the thick woolly this thick woolly layer is probably a little bit much inside, except for maybe in the very depths of winter, but we'll see. I'm just so happy with how it turned out. And because I saw that there would be more yarn, I just kept knitting the body, and I just thought, I'm gonna make the most of it. I'm gonna make a little dress. I didn't do any increases or decreases. I decided just to make it a straight dress shape, and it's so cute. I tried it on her along the way. I was just knitting on some Chiaogu red lace cable needles, and the cable was a lot larger than the knitting itself. It happened to be the cable I had available, so I kind of did a magic loop kind of thing with it, but that made it really easy for me to try it on her as I went, make sure that it was fitting her, and then to kind of see, okay, how much more do I want to knit, how long should it be? And so it's like a very nice length below her knees, where she'll be able to grow into it a little bit too. I made the sleeves a little bit longer too, so that she can grow into the sleeves as well. It's quite fitted on her. She definitely can wear a long sleeve shirt underneath, but there's not very much positive ease. It's almost like, it almost fits her exactly, which will be okay, because as she grows, it's okay if there's a little bit of negative ease and it stretches. I think that's super cute. And I've noticed that I think a lot of current contemporary knitwear design sweaters for children have a little bit of positive ease and space in them, which I think is wonderful. But more vintage and older patterns have very little ease. They fit closer to the body and maybe even have almost negative ease, that they fit almost fitted, like tight around the little body. And I think that there are benefits to both of those approaches, having more space or less space for a child, depending on how you're going to layer. Of course, if you're buying something, it's probably more practical to have it be a little bit bigger, so that, just to compensate for different shapes of bodies and all different things. But I do appreciate a nice, well-fitted sweater, because I think it insulates really nicely. Obviously, it's got to fit properly and be comfortable and fit, not be too tight. But when it's properly fitted, I feel like it's just really nice insulating piece, and makes it really so that they can be really mobile, and there's not like extra pieces of fabric in their way, which sometimes can happen, and that's not that practical. So yeah, I like that this isn't a super oversized big piece on her, that it fits nice and really close to her. I think it's going to be wonderful with a little pair of tights or leggings, or just layered up. It's going to be so cute, and I love this color, and it's especially, of course, adorable because it's kind of like the counterpiece to my thistle rug sweater that I knit up. The colorway is the darker colorway being the main colorway of mine, so I can't wait to just kind of go out and match and be a little matching with Esme when we go out somewhere in the winter time. I think that'll be so fun and so cute. And there's a little bit of this yarn left. I don't know if it's enough for like a hat or something. I thought maybe I would knit a little bonnet or a little hat for her. And then I also have a little bit more of the purple, which, yeah, still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But for now, I'm so happy with what I've gotten out of this yarn. I mean, I bought this yarn, I think I bought 15 balls in total, which is 1,500 grams. So like a kilo and a half a kilo of yarn, which is so much. I bought that on sale. It was very affordable. I think it was like maybe €50 at the most. And I've gotten already a sweater. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that was the case. But I got a sweater for myself, a big, warm, huge, gorgeous sweater for myself, a sweater for Esmeralda, and I'm definitely going to get a couple of other things. So that was an amazing investment, and so special that it was Jamieson & Smith, which I loved. This was the first time I think that I've ever worked with Jamieson & Smith yarn, and I think, yeah, Jamieson & Smith as a brand is just so like iconic and so beautiful, and they're such high quality, and I mean, you can just see in the colorways how gorgeous the colors are. The yarn itself is just beautiful and worthy of any kind of heirloom quality piece of knitwear. So I really enjoy working with this, and I'm just so happy to have this little finished object. And it's always so much fun to make a child's sweater after making an adult size sweater. It feels like just a breeze and just like the biggest treat ever. It's so much fun. So I love this project. It was just a passion project as I worked on it, and one of my favorite pieces that I've made recently. So yeah, that's my little mini yoked sweater dress and my first finished object. The second finished object I have isn't actually knitting. It is kind of sewing, but knitting related. I'm kind of holding you in suspense, but I'll share it with you later after I share my works in progress. I have a new cast on in my other main project. So I like to have most of the time, two projects on the go. One kind of mindless project and one a little bit more involved project. And this one was my kind of mindless one. So I cast on a new, I'll just show you the new cast on. I cast on a new kind of mindless project. and that is a little pair of socks, a little pair of green socks. Now, this is a really special pair of socks for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's Socktober, it's October, and I love this kind of idea, knitting a pair of socks in October, Socktober. I thought it was such a cute idea. I don't know why, but I never really thought of Socktober, and now I see it everywhere. People are talking about it, and it's just a month of sock knitting. So I've loved to see that and to kind of participate in my own way by just knitting a pair of socks. But these socks are special because they're not just for me, they're not for anyone I actually know. These are going to be sent off for the Aktion Grüne Socke, which is a German kind of a charity it's a charity for ovarian cancer, I think. Either ovarian cancer or, what is it called? Cervical cancer, I think. It's like cancer that women, suffer from. It's a charity for women who have this cancer, and this charity collects hand-knit green socks and gives it to women who are going through chemotherapy. It's just really special because they, if you often when going through chemotherapy, you can have really cold extremities and be really chilly, and so getting a nice pair of warm hand-knit socks could be a real encouragement in that time. And I heard for the first time about this Aktion Grüne Socke for the first time a few months ago. I was really, really excited about this idea and the idea of knitting a pair of hand-knit socks and sending it to someone who's going through such a difficult time, because I just imagine for me, if I were in that position, what a gift it would be to get something handmade, made with love, to keep you warm and to kind of be an encouragement to you in that time. So I was really excited about that idea, and I decided for Socktober I'd knit my pair of green socks. And I'm using a special yarn that I got gifted to me by, I think it was either a friend or my mother-in-law who passed this yarn on to me. Just some beautiful, solid German sock yarn, Innovation Strumpf und Sportwolle, very simple, 75% wool, 25% polyamide, very simple 75-25 sock yarn, but it's a nice German sock yarn, and I love them. They're very sturdy, they're very nicely spun. It has a very bouncy texture, the yarn. I really like it. I've never knit with this brand before, but I really like the way that it feels. It feels really, just bouncy and really lovely and soft. So I think these are going to be very lovely. And of course they're green. That's the whole part of the Grüne Socke. Grün means green in German, and Socke means sock, so green sock. They're green socks, and I'm really, really enjoying them, knitting them up, kind of having the person who will one day wear them in my prayers, thinking about that, and just knitting a lot of love into them. I'm sorry I had to hop away for a minute because Vivian woke up, and then I had to put her back to bed. She's a little cold right now and needs a lot of comfort and help, so she's back sleeping. But yes, I was talking about these beautiful socks for Grüne Socke, the Aktion Grüne Socke. Yeah, I'm really excited about them, loving this innovation yarn, and can't wait to share that project with you. It's nice just to have a stockinette sock project. I love them. I love having a project like that going. I had these with me this morning at the park, and my girls just played in the sandbox, and I could just knit a few rows, and it's just so practical to have it and take it along with me. Take it in the car, just take it anywhere. I end up not knitting much on them at home. They're definitely more of a project I like to do while I'm out and about and just kind of not able to focus on something. It's kind of just something for my hands to do. I love that about hand crafting and hand knitting, that it gives your hands something to do. Sometimes I just need that. I don't know what it is, but I find it so rewarding and nice to be able to make something while I'm in this quiet, not dull, but kind of like the lull moments of life. There's moments where life are just kind of quiet, and there's not, something going on. It's nice to have something for my hands, and things like sitting with my children or sitting in the car. Those are just the perfect times for that. Sitting on the train. I used to knit on the train a lot when before I had children, and I worked as an English teacher in a school. I had a really cool job as an English teacher in a school for children with special needs, and different certain challenges in their life, and it was really fun to work there. I loved it there, and often I would take the train into work and just knit or read. I obviously, of course, loved reading on the train, But knitting is nice because it kind of gives your brain and your mind it's just free space to process and think and relax. And if you're going into work or coming out of work, like just disconnect a little bit. And there's just that rhythmic movement. I really think knitting is so therapeutic. And actually, when I had my firstborn, I remember the midwife just sat and knit as well. And that was one of the most wonderful, comforting, soothing things that she could have done. It's kind of a kind of unique way to like segue, or just like a weird thing to talk about. I don't know if it is or not, but for me, it meant so much to me that she was knitting there, because it felt like I wasn't under any pressure. I was just, having contractions and things were happening, but the midwife just sat there and knit and allowed me to just experience kind of labor. And then when the time came to have my daughter, she was obviously present, but it was just like this very low pressure way for her to be present with me in the room, if that makes sense. I know not everyone will like identify with the whole like childbirth thing, but I loved that, and I really appreciated that she was a knitter, and that she, of course, being a knitter myself, it like had something extra special. But even if I wasn't a knitter, the fact that someone was just with me in the room, present, but just so completely relaxed and calm, it made me feel so relaxed and calm, and it was just wonderful. So yeah, I love knitting, stockinette, taking it along with me. And then when I'm at home and I have time to focus a little bit more, be a little bit more, have undisturbed knitting time, not when I have to like pick it up, put it back down. That's another thing when I'm out and about. I'm often like picking it up, putting it down. At home, and just the calm and quiet of my own home, I like to have a project which is a little bit more involved. And the project I have here now isn't that actually that involved. It's also very relaxed. Very doable project, not super complex, but it's really fun. And that's my second, work in progress, and that is my Bifera vest. A gorgeous, gorgeous pattern that I'm just savoring every stitch on. I'm loving it. I shared it last episode, and now I've just finished all the color work. It's been slow moving for me, in a sense, because I really just work on it in the evenings. Knitting a few rows and just taking it slowly. I'm not the fastest color work knitter, but I finished now the color work just a couple of days ago. So there it is. You can see the whole color work motif. My color work is still in need of a lot of practice. I knit it so loosely. I definitely need to just practice my technique, because I'm not the best. My tension is just way too loose. And you can see that, but I think after I block this and wash it or steam it, or however I decide to block it in the end, I think it will all even out. I've found that in the past with color work that it's very forgiving, especially when it's 100% wool on superwashed yarn. I'm knitting this using very special hand-dyed, indie-dyed, natural-dyed yarn that my friend Alexandra dyed up of November Woods fiber. Unfortunately, her business is no longer open. She closed her doors, but I am very lucky. I have some beautiful hand-dyed, naturally dyed yarn from her that I was saving for a special project. And this is really the perfect project for this yarn. So I have the main color, which is called Fox Prints, and it's this beautiful, warm, kind of brown. I love the name Fox Prints. I think it's so fitting for this colorway. And I love, love, love how it's looking. I think it's going to be so wearable too for me. And then I have these contrast yarns, which came from a little mini skein set called the Lighthouse Keeper set, I think. And it came with a couple of shades of kind of neutrals, a cream, a pink. I'll show you. Well, actually, there was two pinks. There was a lighter pink and then this more bright pink. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. This kind of pink shade. There's also then a mini that is indigo dyed. I'll see if I can show you that one too. Where do I have it? I have it actually here somewhere. Here it is. So it had these as well as a couple of neutral shades, and I'm using this mini skein set to knit the contrasting colors on this little vest. I used two kind of lighter colors. One was the creamish kind of color, more natural yarn color, and the other, and it has a very light pink tinge. And then this kind of light, very, very subtle sandy colorway was the other one. And I held them double. I'm holding this yarn double in the whole project. It's fingering weight. This pattern calls for DK, so I'm holding it double through the whole project. But yeah, I love this contrasting color. I think it looks so beautiful with this darker, beautiful fox prints colorway. And then for the rest, because you have an option of adding contrasting on like each of the cast on edge, on the cuffs or whatever, like the arm sleeve kind of edges and the waist edge. And I'm going for that. I'm thinking I'm going to do that little contrasting edge on each part. The first one I did with a neutral color and the indigo yarn, the blue one. I'm going to do some pink, and then there's one part of the colorway which is like a checkered kind of a colorway, and I did pink and a neutral shade. And you don't see it very strong because the pink is a little bit darker and kind of is low contrast with the brown of fox prints, but I don't mind at all. I think it's very lovely. I like the muted, subtle shifts in color, the lower contrast shifts. I think it's very beautiful and gives a very natural effect. Yeah, I'm really loving how it's looking, and I'm so happy I saved this yarn and that this project just appeared, because I think it's the perfect marriage of yarn and project. Sometimes that just happens where you have a really special yarn you've just been holding on to, waiting for the perfect project, and when that project comes along, it's all the more glorious to knit it, all the more special, and I know it's going to be all the more special to wear and keep forever in my wardrobe collection. So yeah, that's my Bifera vest. It's a very fun project. It's a unique construction. It's modular knitting, and I'm almost getting to the point where I'm going to start the modular part. I just have finished the first color work, and then it's going to go off. I don't want to give away too much about the construction because I know it's, you know, a paid pattern, a special pattern, but yeah, it's going to be like this in the end. Of course, it's all bunched up around the cables, so you can't see it well, but it'll be like this, and then the color work is here, and oh, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be so beautiful. It's so gorgeous, and I've just loved working on it, and I can't wait to have it finished, but I'm enjoying every stitch, so there's no rush with this project at all, and we'll see how far I come next episode, because I finished the color work, which for me is probably the most focused part, the slowest moving part. Excited to see how quickly it moves, because it's also, you know, it's just a vest, not a sweater, and vests also knit up so quickly compared to full sweaters not having sleeves. It's also cropped, so it's not like a whole entire body length. But yeah, that's my Bifera vest, my second knitted work in progress, and I'm just loving this. I so encourage you. So a lot of people mentioned that they want to also cast this on and knit it up. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend this pattern. I think it's also perfect for this time of year. If you're somewhere where it's autumn right now and a little cooler, I think it's such a fun autumnal project, and I think it's going to get a lot of wear. You could get a lot of wear out of it later in the season and going into the spring, so highly recommend casting it on. It's so much fun to work on. But those are my little knitting projects right now. And I have one more project, as I told you at the beginning, which is a finished object, but not knitting. And that is a sewing project, knitting related, because it is a project bag. So look at this. I sewed up a little project bag for myself this week. And oh my goodness, this was so much fun. I've never done this before. This was the first project bag I've ever made. It turned out perfectly functional, so it's wonderful, exactly what I wanted. Is it perfect? Of course not. Do I want it to be perfect? No, it's supposed to function as a project bag, so I'm so happy with it. It's just this beautiful kind of patchwork bag, and I have been so into the patchwork quilted aesthetic thing that I've been seeing lately so many places. I love that vibe. I love the look. I think it's so cool and so gorgeous. And I've seen a lot of different patchwork, different things, clothing, sweaters, blankets, of course, quilts, all kinds of things. I also have seen like Christmas stockings that are like kind of patchwork or quilted, and I'm so into them. I'm like honestly obsessed with them. I can't stop thinking about that. I really want to sew up kind of a quilted Christmas stocking. But anyway, this project, I have seen lots of different things that were quilted or patchwork, and I think that they're so pretty, but I had really thought of making something like this myself. I've wanted a project bag for a long time, and just it's not in the budget right now to buy one, even though I just adore so many. There's specifically one or two, but really one kind of project bag maker that I've really been just like wanting so much a project bag from for years. And yeah, right now it's just not in the budget, but I have one project bag. I have two project bags. I have one from my mother-in-law, which is gorgeous, which actually my sock project is in right now. It's this beautiful little Japanese, I forgot the name of this. It's this really cute little bag. You can hold it like this. It's really fun. I love this project bag. Then I have another one, which another project is in, and it's such a gift. I love this project bag. It's by Noble Character Crafts, Amy, one of my lovely, lovely podcasting friends, and I love watching her podcast so much. She gifted me that project bag a couple of years ago, and it's just one of my all-time favorites, and it has a project in it that I really want to finish, so I haven't like transferred any projects out of it. Anyway, I've been wanting another project bag, and because it's not in the budget, I thought I need to make one. I really want to make one, and I had that in my mind for a long time. And then a couple of months ago, I saw a video by the lovely Bethany of Well Love Knits, and I'm sure you are familiar with her. She had made this video where she sewed up her own kind of quilted project bag. I think it was inspired by a petite knit project bag. I'm not sure. I've never seen it. I had never seen the petite knit project bag before I watched Bethany's video. But she walked through her kind of process, kind of freestyling, making this gorgeous bag. And yeah, when I saw that video, I was like, I want to make something like that. It looked so cool. She had this gorgeous linen check fabric. It looked so elegant, so chic, and so like cozy and just wonderful. I always feel like her style is really like that. It's so like elegant and chic, but also just cozy and wearable. And so I was so inspired by her video and kind of took that as my kind of tutorial in the beginning, although I ended up really completely freestyling it myself too, because she used just one kind of fabric and then quilted over, like top stitch over it to give this quilted effect. I ended up looking in my little fabric stash of leftover fabric and just gathered a ton of all my leftovers and made a little patchwork kind of quilt top out of it. And I also didn't have any quilt batting or wadding, or however, I think it's different regional, whatever you would call it, batting or wadding, I'm not sure. But I didn't have any, so I had read that you can use other old things like an old towel or an old fleece blanket. And I had this old fleece blanket from, I think it was handed down to us when I had my firstborn. Like, it was a hand-me-down, very sweet, but not really, we don't really have much use for it. It's like a little baby blanket, and I have plenty of baby blankets, and I love using wool because although fleece is very nice, ends up getting like, I feel like it's just not very breathable, so it didn't get much use anyway. I thought it would be the perfect kind of little batting in between sandwich layer for a little quilt project of some kind, and in the end it worked out perfectly for this crochet. No, what am I talking about? For this quilted project bag. So yeah, I made this little quilt patchwork top with all kinds of leftover fabric that I have. Actually, just these two kinds. It's not all kinds, but I had leftover enough from these two fabrics, which were from different projects. I made a tablecloth out of this gingham, and then if you've watched previous episodes, you know that I made a jumpsuit out of this beautiful floral linen Vice Coast blend jumpsuit for myself, and then a matching one for my daughter. And yeah, these were just the scraps, the leftovers, and so I made this quilt top out of it and kind of used the batting of this, used this other thing as a batting. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm totally jumbling up my language right now. But yeah, I ended up just making this little quilt, and it worked out so well. And then the inside I made a lining with some more leftover scrap fabric from another dress that I had made last year, this darker gingham. I love the look of this darker gingham as the lining. I think it's so pretty, and I made a little pocket with some more of this lighter cream gingham, and so I have a little pocket in there with this beautiful lining, and then I made this drawstring top. I really wanted it to be drawstring. I love the drawstring thing. I have a zipper. I could have made a zipper one, but I just like the drawstring vibe right now. I don't know, I feel like also zipper project bags seem way more difficult to my mind somehow, because I feel like because it's drawstring, it's very forgiving because it's the shape. The shape is a little bit like, the flaws are kind of hidden, whereas if it's a zipper, I feel like it has to look nice and neat and very clean. And so that's maybe one that I'll have to invest in at some point if I want a zippered one. But yeah, this works so well, and it's a little like crazy, a little wonky here and there, but it turned out honestly so fun and so beautiful and looks so cute. I think it has this real rustic kind of cottagecore aesthetic to it because of like the floral linen and gingham, and then I just do this little quilt design, which just, I feel like the quiltingness makes it even more rustic and homey. And yeah, I love it. I love it, love it, love it so much. And I'm so happy with it. And I have no project in here yet, but I'm going to put a project in here ASAP because it's just perfect. I think it'll be perfect even for my Bifera vest. I made it nice and big. I kind of just made it the size I could with what I had. I wanted something a little bit bigger. It's really nice and giant, as you can see. It definitely will fit a sweater project in here, a big shawl project. Yeah, it will fit things really nicely. But yeah, with the materials I had, this was the size that it made, and it turned out wonderfully, so I'm so happy with it. And then along with it, I actually painted some progress keepers. I had made little progress keepers out of polymer clay with my sister in the States when I was visiting a couple years ago, and I never painted them. I wanted to paint them. First, we wanted to paint them together. We didn't get to. I took some home, and I never painted them, but that changed this week. Wait a second, I'm gonna grab them to show you. Okay, so here they are. I have quite a few more progress keepers, and little stitch markers that I can paint, or that, yeah, my husband and daughter and I can paint. But we just took these out and worked on them together just one afternoon. Yeah, and I painted this little mushroom, which I had made. I painted it brown. Of course, I was tempted to make like a classic Amanita muscaria red with white polka dot mushroom, because I feel like, you know, that's the classic mushroom look. And right now I feel like that like Amanita muscaria mushroom is really popular in like illustration and stuff. But I decided to go for a simple brown mushroom. I feel like it looks a little bit like a shiitake edible mushroom, but it could be any number of mushrooms from the forest. Yeah, I really just decided to go for a brown one. I think it's so cute, and it will look cute on any kind of project. It's a neutral color. I think it's so cute and just adorable. A little earthy mushroom, and look how adorable that looks with this bag. I think it's so cute. I just love it. So that was my main one, and I even did some kind of gills underneath so that it's really authentic. The little stem is a little bit lighter. Yeah, you can identify this mushroom if you want to. You can please let me know what you think it is. But yeah, that was the first one we made. Then I had Esmeralda help me with these two. I have this little frog, which is half finished. It's a little frog head. She painted it green. I will paint some eyes on it later and a little smile. And then she also helped me paint these little 2 peas in a pod, which is so cute. I also think goes with this kind of cottagecore bag. And she also painted it green for me. A little bit lighter on the little heads and darker on the kind of a pod, on the pea pod. And I will go ahead also and paint some faces on them later. But they're just so cute. I really like it. And she loved it. She thought it was so much fun. And then Nick, he was sketching and drawing, and then I was like, come on, we have one more for you to do. And so he started this one, which is not finished, but it will get finished soon. He has to finish it for me. It's this little house, this little miniature house, which I think also goes so well with this bag. So I'll have this little collection of little stitch marker project keepers to accompany this bag always. And I think that's so special and fun to have kind of coinciding, almost like matching, yeah, stitch markers or progress keepers for a bag. What a special thing. It's so much fun. And I often see that sold, like a little set with a project bag and then stitch markers together. I just think it's so cute and adorable, and because it's not in my budget at the moment, it's just all the more fun to make it myself, and yeah, makes it all the more special too when you make it when I make it yourself. And actually making this quilt bag was so fun because my daughters and I kind of cut the pieces out together and practiced counting them, all the ones we counted all the squares and pieced them together, and yeah, it was really a fun time. So that's my other little project of the day, and I can't wait to have it with me always as I fill it with projects and all kinds of knitting goodness. So yeah, that's all my fiber art creativity that I've been up to lately. I've also been doing some natural dyeing, but I think I'll share that with you in a different video because that's just like a whole world of its own. I've really been loving natural dyeing. It's so much fun, especially collecting dye materials and foraging or using kitchen scraps or kitchen materials, experimenting in different ways. It's just been so much fun. So yeah, I've really been loving that, but that really is kind of a world of its own. So I'll share that with you maybe a different time in a different video, maybe share with you a process of what I've been making. I've been eco-printing and bundle dyeing and yeah, doing all kinds of really fun things. It's also really fun to do with children, to collect materials and use them to dye. We just love that. We love foraging for food when we can, so it's all the more fun to also then forage for art materials and creative things. I'd love to hear what you're up to, what you're making, what you're inspired by. Nick and I have just rediscovered our Kindles, so we've been reading a lot on our Kindles, which is a lot of fun. I don't know why, but it's just been like really fun to read on the Kindles. We have not done it in years, and Nick is reading Lord of the Rings, and I just finished this nonfiction book, and I'm also starting a fantasy novel, the Wheel of Time series, which I've had forever and never read. But because Nick is reading a fantasy, I decided I wanted to also read some fantasy. I'm not the biggest fantasy reader at all by any means, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and I think it's just so cozy and fun in the autumn and winter to enter into kind of fantasy world. And Lord of the Rings I've also never read, but Nick is loving reading it, and so it's really special and fun to kind of delve into those worlds, and we just love it. Lighting a candle, getting a cup of tea, and both reading. And then one thing about the Kindle, which is amazing, is we could take it into bed with us, which we couldn't really read in bed for a long time because Vivian still sleeps in our room. She has her little crib there, and so it's hard to read at night. But with our Kindle, that's no problem. It's like easy. So that's been so much fun. And another thing that I've been doing a lot in the evenings is enjoying, as I knit, either watching Vlogtober or Gilmore Girls. I've been watching Ashley of Paper Crane Yarns, her Vlogtober this month, and honestly every single day it's like a highlight of my day to just wait for her vlog and then in the evening sit down and watch her day and what she does on her vlog. She has the most exciting, like simultaneously relaxing and restorative and beautiful kind of cozy way of presenting her life. At the same time, she has such a full life. She has a yarn shop. She has a daughter who's around the same age as my younger daughter, and she's with her daughter most every single day, and she's caring for her, she's cooking, she's doing all kinds of things and running her store and knitting, just so many beautiful things. It's really so fun to watch her life, and that's just been a highlight for me this October, is catching up with her every day, and I just love that. And after I finish watching her Vlogtober, I usually watch a little episode of Gilmore Girls, which I've never watched. This is my first year watching Gilmore Girls, and it's very aesthetically beautiful. It's very fun and lighthearted and cute, but it's also like it taking some getting used to for me in a certain way, because I never watched it before, but some of my sisters did, and they were like, you need to watch it. And so I've watched it this autumn. I'm watching it, but yeah. I don't know, the jury's kind of out on whether or not I'm a huge fan. I do like it though, and it has been a lot of fun. So anyway, I hope that that's not like too controversial to say. But those are the things that I've been enjoying to just unwind and relax at the end of the day. I guess I'll let you go now and go get some knitting in before my girls wake up. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whenever it is that you're watching. If you'd like to find me, you can find me on Instagram as Merryweather Living. You can find me on merryweatherliving.com, and you can subscribe to the Merryweather Journal, which is my monthly newsletter where I just share kind of artful living inspiration, cooking, making, crafting projects. It's really kind of a more intimate space where I just share updates and chat with you. So if you're interested in that, I'll link that below, and you get a discount on my Moon River socks pattern if you subscribe as well, which is really fun. But yeah, other than that, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week, and can't wait to see you again next time. Take care. Bye.